Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So today we're taking another look at Lori Vallow and the case that is ongoing, and the twists and turns and the different rabbit holes that we have to follow to try to keep up with this entire thing. So we got more information on the subpoenas that were filed by her attorney, Mr. Means, Means, and the requests that he made are very vague and very broad in nature. At the same time, he subpoenaed Google for Google records on what the DA and the state of Idaho were looking into, along with the Chandler prosecuting attorney and their police department, in reference to Lori. He also subpoenaed the Fremont Police Department, the Fremont Prosecutor's Office, the Idaho State's Attorney, Southwest Airlines, and U.S. Bank Corp, or U.S. Bank as people more commonly know them as. Why? It's beyond me. It's kind of like he's trying to grasp at different things throughout the case to see where everybody is, looking at and what they're actually investigating when it comes to Lori and Lori only. Now, he made other requests that are not subpoena oriented, but requests that are about Lori and Chad. The Chandler, Arizona DA's office is investigating Lori and Chad and the death of Tammy Daybell. They're investigating them both and their involvement in the actual death of Tammy Daybell. The areas that they are looking in and they are investigating is them both on are murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy in the death of Tammy Daybell. Now, the actual autopsy, they exhumed Tammy's body. The autopsy itself is done. But again, they are still awaiting the actual toxicology reports before they put it all together and then send it to the DA. Lori's Vallow attorney, Mr. Means, wants to get that information before the actual thing is actually done. The Idaho State's Attorney's Office said they're focusing on communication between Chad and Lori in the months prior to Tammy's death. Now, keep in mind, we know that Lori had set up fake email accounts and trying to lure Chad to her home before his wife was dead and before her husband was dead. She set these email accounts up acting as Charles to try to lure Chad to her home. And they're looking at those emails to see what did she actually talk to Chad about. Is there actual conspiracy there in the death of Tammy? And they want to know, in particular, did they talk about anything, planning wise? Is there something that they did or they talked about that would lead them to, they set this up and they actually did commit the murder of Tammy. Remember, Tammy, physically fit, had a physical 4 months prior to her death. She passed that. She was getting ready and to run in a marathon, which is something that she commonly did. She was very active, and she died mysteriously in her sleep. So the subpoenas are asking for the following information that were filed: autopsy results, which are not complete; toxicology exam results; any other tests or examinations that they did on Tammy; financial records for Lori that both the state of Idaho and the Chandler Police Department may have on Lori herself; email records of communications between Lori and Chad, which I spoke about; iPad data and cell phone records and computer data that either one of the two states may have on Lori and Chad; communications of transactions between Lori and Charles from 2006 going forward until his death; and then records of Lori accessing Charles's life insurance, or trying to, and anything that she may have done to hinder him while he was still alive. Because there's a report where Charles actually contacted his life insurance company and said, somebody keeps on changing my password and my PIN number, and I didn't do it. Was it Lori? And was she trying to get in to access his life insurance to change the beneficiary, to find out what the beneficiary information was? And they're looking into that as well. Robert Woods, the state prosecutor, said in following, in a reply to the subpoena request, the court paperwork request is irrelevant to the desertion charges Lori is currently facing. The requests are vague, overly broad, unduly burdensome, and may hinder on private communications within the actual prosecutor's office. Here at the end, I will have copies of, I'll put them on the screen here for you, of the actual subpoena. Please note, page 5 and page 9 are not in the subpoena. Page 5 is blank and page 9 is blank. The page 5 is redacted information because it's confidential to only the legal parties involved. And page 9 was a blank page, and all it has is just the actual communications address, an email address for the DA. There was nothing on page 9 of real importance. Okay, so they're looking into Lori on possible murder charges, conspiracy, fraud, and also her involvement with Tammy Daybell and anything that she may have actually done with Chad that led up to the day that Tammy died. And the murder charges also are looking at her involvement with her and her brother, Alex Cox. Did she communicate with Alex on setting up Charles to be murdered? Now, in my last video, I want to make a clarification. I said that on the day that Charles was killed, he showed up at the house to take JJ to school. Lori had, and Charles had gotten into an argument. Tylee pointed a bat at her dad and said, "Get away from mom." This is by Alex's account and Lori's account later on, that this happened. But for some reason, Charles stayed there. Lori took Charles's rental car and took JJ to school, leaving him there with no way to actually leave Lori's home, and left him with Alex. Why would he do this? Why would he stay there in the home with Alex, someone who actually made physical threats of violence towards him in the past? He said the two of them were having Alex's version. Alex said the two of them were having a conversation when all of a sudden Charles picked up the bat and hit him in the back of the head. The police who showed up that day really didn't take full account into the situation. They never searched him. They never patted him down. They never asked him until the 7-minute mark into the conversation, "Where's the gun?" There's so many issues there that the police missed, that protocol-wise that they should have done. They should have checked him immediately when they got there for the weapon and asked him where the weapon is. They don't know if this man is mentally stable and if he's going to shoot them next, but they didn't do that. Again, the injury to the back of Alex's head, he said, was a wound that he received from being hit with the bat, does not match up with an actual injury that would have been caused by a bat. It doesn't match up. The officer's notes of the injury required a small little band-aid. That's it. He didn't need hospitalization from it, nothing. And Alex's version is he looked at him, they were talking, they started to argue. After he hit him with the bat, he told him to put the bat down, and Charles supposedly raised the bat to actually strike Alex again. And he shot him in the chest and killed him. Then he calmly called 911 as if he was ordering a pizza, and they told him, by the way, we don't have any pepperoni today, so he picked a second option. Well, I'll take sausage instead. No care at all, and there's no evidence that he ever tried the CPR that they tried to walk him through. He's kind of like, yeah, I don't know how to do CPR. Well, I'm okay. All right, I guess I'll try it. No evidence at all that he ever did anything. When the body was discovered, there was absolutely no signs that anyone had tried CPR on Charles. That's where we're at. 4 people are dead that we know of for sure. Charles, Alex, Tammy, and Mr. Ryan, Joseph Ryan, are all dead. We have 2 missing children, Tylee and JJ. We don't know where they are. Lori and Chad are refusing to tell the authorities where they are. They won't answer any questions pertaining to them. They won't tell the police anything, and we know how Lori's been acting. Every time she's come in and out of the courtroom, she has laughed, joked, smiled, and carried on as if none of this is anything at all. That's the psychopath we are dealing with today. That is Lori Vallow. Where are Tylee and JJ? That's the biggest question. We know she probably had a hand in all 4 of those deaths. Thank you for joining me today. And stay safe out there. Remember, Friday, she may have court. We'll see what happens.